All right, the topic this week. Now, what I'm going to do is we're here pretty soon. We're going to start having guests on, and I'll just be doing this periodically throughout the rest of the year. And probably will have most of them all done by the time the end of the year gets here. But
Okay.
I'm going to start giving an early preview look at 2026. And
How many of my sweet public inputs in here? No, I'm just kidding.
I have no idea yet. I hadn't got
All
that
right.
far. But
All right.
what I am doing is I'm going through starting with Article 90 and 100, and then
Nice.
as I'm going through it, then I'll go through 110, and then I'll get into Chapter 2 and do Article 200, and 210, and 215,
So,
220, 225, 230, 240, 250.
so
So
is the special guest gonna be your dad?
we'll probably get him on. We're also going to get Mike Barr on. Um,
Nice.
uh, may get somebody else on. May get Mark come on.
Nice.
I'm just going to have a lot of different guests. I know a lot of people in the industry, and uh, and
Cool.
plus it's going to give me a break because
All right.
I mean, just the last since the first of the year. I mean, we've been full go getting journeyman master exam prep going. So
So
doing all the
if you're gonna
calculations.
be on the if you're gonna be on the show, it doesn't give you a break from my stupid questions. So just giving you a heads up on that. James was like,
I think I can handle it.
yeah. I know.
All right, now let's take a look at this. Is the first one, and this is 90.7, and it gets to dealing with examination equipment for safety. And what they did, they took out uh, the last sentence to 90.70 here, and then they took
Okay.
out a few of the other things here in the second paragraph. But all they did is refer you to 110.3C. And basically taking that out and including 110.20, 110.3C, they basically are telling you that there there wasn't in place where you had a mandatory requirement covering who performs product certification and how the product certification is aligned with the NEC. Okay?
Hey, and just a big disclaimer: none of this language has actually passed yet. This all has to go through a bunch of stuff before it's actually confirmed. But we're just saying what potentially could happen if everything passes. So I just want everyone to know this is not passed language yet. This could pass. It
That's
hasn't
correct.
passed yet.
And what this is, anything that I'm showing you has already been accepted for the first
Right.
revision. Now, some
Right.
of this could change a little bit, or they could just say, no, we're just going to leave it the way it is. But
Right.
as of right now, this is what we're looking at. So we'll see what happens, And the
Yeah.
great thing is, um, when uh, we get all this done and the second revision comes in, we'll go back and we'll check to see if any of this changed or anything. But from there, we will get everything done. And by the time probably next, we'll probably start the next October, but we'll start going through all the changes that were passed and what is the clarification and meaning behind them with the
Nice.
substantiation from the committee. Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
So
So
basically,
are we just doing 5 of these tonight?
no, there's a few more than
Or
that.
okay, cool.
So,
Good
uh,
day.
and by them adding 110.3C in here and doing that referral, therefore, what that ended up clarifying here is like that last sentence there in the first paragraph, that language was no longer necessary, and therefore they could delete it. So, and if you
Right.
go back and look, they added 110.3C in the 2017 code. Okay.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit with this one just for the fact that every time I get like a piece of equipment, a factory installed integral wiring, I always check it to make sure it's done right. We've had times where it had neutral tied to hot and neutral. You know what I mean? Like where you just look at it, you're like, wait a minute. You know, it doesn't need to be inspected, but we inspect it. You know.
Yeah, I always check my stuff just to make absolutely sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now this is not really a huge change here, but it was needed, and let me explain why. Because if you go in and look at the 2023 code, it I'm sorry, the 2020 code, they changed it in 2023. We used to look at this and we used to call this a high impedance grounded neutral system. Now they just call it an impedance grounded system. Okay.
Okay.
And so when they did that, they come in and they created an impedance bonding jumper, and they're just telling you that this is a connection. It's in an impedance grounded system between the equipment grounding conductors and the grounding electrode side of the impedance grounding device. And we actually took and we actually show where you have, we actually drew a digital impedance device and show them where that connection is, uh, uh, and how you go about bonding everything in. Okay.
Okay.
So we have that put in. So that is something, and you're going to see that the definition here is making sure you understand that this is a unique, as they will call it, bonding jumper that carries what? It carries that fault current at a level less than determining where. Table 25122 and tying it in with table 250.102C1.
Wow,
Okay.
and then we just learned about that 250-102C1
Mm-hmm.
with the 250-66. So wow, they all work in concert.
And if you remember, I've always said this. When you look, when I go in and I'm teaching grounding, I teach two parts. I teach
Hmm.
the load side and the line side.
Yep.
And what you want to remember is if you're on the line or the load, or say the line side, we'll start the line side, where you're coming into the equipment and everything, you're looking at table 250.66 and table 250.102C1. And if you
Yeah.
look at those two tables there, other than the top of it, the items it's mentioning, the sizing is exactly the same. Okay.
Yep.
But if I go in and look at the line side where I'm supplying equipment, that's going to be where? That's going to be table 25122, and you start sizing everything from there. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the load side.
I mean,
Like
the load side.
so.
Load side.
Yeah, they call like the supply side, and you
Yeah,
know.
I call it uh, uh, line and load side. That's the
Yeah,
way
and that's
we do it.
good. That's a good way for people to remember.
All right. Now, this is interesting. I hadn't noticed this until I started going through doing this, but they got, this isn't the only definition here. Okay, and they're telling you what a cable tie is, and I think this is pretty interesting because they got an informational note there, and it's telling you about the different type of cable ties and cable ties uh, uh, that you have, uh, and what their designations are. Okay. So when you look at a cable tie, it'll tell you it's a band or length of material employing a locking device, and it's used for bundling, securing, and or supporting cables, flexible conduit, or flexible tubing. And then if you come down and you look at your types here, if you have a 111, 2, 21, 2S, and 2IS, are evaluated for use in cable management applications. And if I have just 2S and 21S, they're evaluated for securing and supporting cables, flexible conduit, and flexible tubing. Okay.
Hey,
So,
so William Kurtz asked if Super 33 is acceptable. I don't know. I don't think so.
no. All right. And then look at this. You got a cable tie fixing device. Okay. And they tell you it's a component such as a block or bracket specifically designated to secure the cable ties to a mounting surface. And then you'll see you get the exact same type designations here for the different types of support methods you're going to use, but they're just telling you what a fixing device is.
Right.
So there is a device that you use in order to secure the different type of methods here. Now,
Okay.
then they've got another one here that uh, they call it a cable tie integral device. And they tell you it's a single component as produced that incorporates a cable tie and a cable tie fixing device that are not separable. So it comes as one unit. Okay. And you get the exact
Oh,
same types and everything.
dude, I think Willie Jackerson actually invented that one.
It's really
It's
neat.
a two in one. It's a two in one. Easy day.
Easy day. That's right.
Yeah, it's an easy day connector.
But look at that. So now we've got three different definitions for the different ways that you can go in and use cable ties now. So
Wow,
I
that's
thought that was
incredible.
pretty interesting. I hadn't seen that,
Yeah.
you know. And as
Wow.
I was
Wow.
going through these, I was like, that's actually pretty interesting. That's actually probably an important change, so people know what types you can use, uh, or what type of designations are for certain
Oh,
types of
my
cables.
favorite code making panel 12.
Yeah. Now
Ah, we're gonna
this
have such fun this year, code making panel 12.
Well, watch what this says, and there's a few definitions here on this one too. This is electric self-propelled vehicle, all right, and it tells you a vehicle or marine vessel other than an EV, such as farm equipment, boats, aircraft, and golf carts, primarily powered by an electric motor that draws current from a rechargeable storage battery, fuel cell, photovoltaic array, or other electric current. Okay, so we're telling you this is what a self-propelled vehicle is. Okay, now
Okay.
watch this. Now you come in and it talks about electric self-propelled vehicle power export equipment. All right,
Yep.
and they tell you this equipment, including the outlet on the electric self-propelled vehicle. Now that's interesting because they're telling you the outlet is on the vehicle itself.
Yes, they do. Which is correct.
That is correct. And I remember them arguing when you saying they told you there's no outlet on the vehicle. They said
Yeah.
that's just you giving an opinion. Well, right
Yeah.
here is a new definition 2026 that's basically saying they're full of crap.
Hmm.
Okay? So and they tell you that it's used to provide electrical power at voltages greater than or equal than 30 volts AC or 60 volt CC to loads external to the ESV using the vehicle as the source of supply. Oh, look
Which is
at
the utilization equipment.
that. That's right.
Yeah.
It's the
100%.
source of the supply. I mean,
Yep.
and that's what I'm saying. All of this is coming to a head, I think is what's happening. Now, this one is electrical self-propelled vehicle supply equipment. Let's see what it says. Equipment for plug-in charging, including the ungrounded, grounded, and equipment grounding conductors and electric self-propelled vehicle connectors, attachment plugs. Oh, look at here. It has a personal protection system. Oh, okay. And all the other devices. Oh, looky there. Have I brought this up before and said, what is a power outlet then? Remember me
Yep.
putting that on them? And they just
Yeah.
ignored that. And it says, or apparatus installed specifically for the purpose of transferring energy between the premise wiring and the electric vehicle.
Yep.
Now, that's interesting, but I want to see what the informational note says here. Electric self-propelled vehicle power export equipment and electric self-propelled vehicle supply equipment or wireless power transfer equipment are sometimes contained, oh, you got to be kidding me, in one piece of equipment, sometimes referred to as bidirectional ESVSE or bidirectional WPTE.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's happening now, some of this stuff is really starting to get out there. All right.
Hmm.
Now, the committee has stated here, the term outlet is already defined. The definition has been updated to improve clarity. Now, let me explain this one. This actually, when you go in and you look at the supporting things that are in there, the references for other um, public inputs that were submitted, this is one here where they went in and made a change. Okay. Now, everything that's in green's new, anything that's in red has been struck out. Now, when you go and you look at this, Don Gennari submitted a proposal and he basically said where the branch circuit connectors are connected to or they connect to a device. Okay. And
Right.
they referred him here and they referred him over to lighting outlet. And he put the exact same terminology for receptacle outlet and lighting outlet and did it for outlet, and it was rejected.
Right.
So what they're telling you here is you have an outlet. Okay.
Hey James, I'm gonna stop you right there, man. They knew all those were gonna fail.
Oh yeah. Well, that's another thing. They told us that that submitted proposal was going to provide clarification. It was going to be accepted.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna call it the Stallcups and then get it rejected.
Hmm. But when you look at this, they're telling you an outlet. Okay, they're not saying a point or anything like that. They're telling you there's an outlet here. Okay,
Yeah, it's installed.
and it says where the branch circuit conductors are connected to one or more receptacles. And basically, they're telling you that it's already, you're providing your connection right there inside the outlet. Just like
Yeah.
if I have a lighting outlet, they didn't even change that definition. And it tells
Right.
you right there, you have an outlet, and that's where your branch circuit conductors are connected and they're going feeding the lighting equipment. It's not, the
True.
outlet's not at the lighting equipment. And see, that's another thing that gets me is
Yeah.
they'll come around and they'll say, oh, if I go over to the AC unit, the outlet's right there at the equipment. Well, why is it not over here at the fixture then? That's utilization equipment. No, it's at the box. That's where they're telling you it is. You
Yeah.
know, and they're not saying that the outlets inside the 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 lighting fixture are telling you that it's connected to conductors that are there at that box. Okay, so there's been some change here, and basically they said that the outlet was already defined and they just updated this definition here to provide clarity, and they rejected everything that Don Gennari stated. Okay.
Nice. Like it.
Now, then they turn around, and this is the last one for tonight, but they added a whole brand new definition of a wiring device. Okay. Now, let's look at this. An electrical device that serves as either a connection point to facilitate the flow of current or as a control device in general distribution and branch circuits. Now, what it's telling you here is when I make a connection, if you're going to say for an outlet, I go over there and that's my point where I'm going to draw my current. Well, why are they telling you here then electrical device is what facilitates the flow of current? And the reason is because the box is the outlet, the device is what's giving it to you. Now, another good
Sure.
example of that was brought up, it was a proposal you submitted, and it stated in there the receptacle and outlets that supply utilization equipment, they have to be installed beforehand. It says has to be
Sure.
installed, and they say,
Yeah.
well, it's only installed once the EVSE's installed. Well, really,
Yeah.
if I have a receptacle out there, are you telling me that that receptacle's not installed before?
Yeah.
I can have a receptacle out there installed and I can plug into that. That has been installed. I might not even plug EVSE into it.
Yeah, and it would be the same way, like if you had like a hardwired, like we did this out at some of the places where we actually put like J boxes out there, and then once they go put the EVSE in, then you just connect to the EVSE, so that an outlet's already installed.
That's
And
right.
then once you install the EVSE, then you just go over and tag it in, and then so actually, in all actuality, those conductors that are just capped off that aren't tied to anything, that's a EVSE outlet.
That's right.
Then you hardwire to it, and you go take that ABSE, you just take the box off, you just put it right over top of it, and you hardwire it. There's no outlet, in my opinion.
That's right.